Welcome to a new episode of Much to Do About Nothing. This is Nick's edition. Why is Trayvon watching this? That's creepy.
He's watching.
Yeah, look, he's being a creepster. Ew,
He
that's nasty.
was not informed that, wow, is that not invited? You want to talk next, Trayvon? You want to jump on and talk basketball? Because we
Yeah,
can.
you can talk basketball with us, sharing our misery.
Tried to
Join.
get you into I tried to get him into hockey this morning, as you saw.
Yeah, they do shirtless hockey. We were trying to help them. But this episode is about Knicks. Um, have fun. Did you hear too? Um,
It's fucked up, Trayvon. I was actually expecting to jump on.
all right, so this episode is about the Knicks. Pretty much talking, obviously, the Knicks season ended in the Eastern Conference Finals, losing out 4-2 against the Pacers, which we wouldn't have to worry about if Digis team could get shit done. Anyway, so we're here to talk about the elephant in the room, which is obviously the Knicks had let go of Tom Thibodeau. There's been a lot of conversation about, do there need to be roster moves? Was it a coaching thing? There's a lot to be talked about. So I want to make this clear. I'm gonna report the video. It's okay. Dig is a wild guy, man. We do plan on doing after the finals a wrap up podcast with Dig, Mike, Prime, talking basketball season as a whole, getting ready for the draft, free agency. Then we'll do an episode for the draft and for free agency. So we're gonna be doing a lot of sports.
Do love me some draft shows. Yeah, if whoever has been watching, those are my favorite.
Yes. Shit, I'm not even gonna lie to you. I might even talk. What do you call it? Preseason football.
Hey.
So we'll see. We'll see how everything pans out. But this episode is strictly talking about the Knicks.
Yeah, it's more of us getting. We have some stuff to get off our chest, and I feel like when we do the NBA show, it should be everybody, and we're just
Right.
doing too much. There's just a lot to say about our favorite team, so we're just going to focus. This show is mostly about the Knicks, so it's a Knick talk. For us, it's what's it called? It's cathartic. It's cathartic is the best way to put it. Yeah.
Very much so. So we'll start with, obviously, like I said, the elephant in the room. Tom Thibodeau was relieved of his duties, is how I believe they stated it. So Tom Thibodeau is no longer our head coach.
It's weird to say that, actually. Now,
You know what's funny, Joel?
but
I had this. You're definitely not going to remember this, but I had this conversation with you maybe around January or February, where the Knicks kind of like started to become a little stagnant. They weren't as electric as they were. It kind of seemed like, Mikal Bridges thing was just a rut we were stuck in. OG was just not finding his place offensively. Cat and Brunson just seemed like they were just handing it off to each other, right? And I remember I asked you, I said, do you think Tibbs is our Mark Jackson?
I remember.
You're like, I don't, what? And I'm like, no, I'm like, do you think maybe Tibbs is only meant to restore the feeling, but not necessarily take us where we need to go? And obviously, it was foolhardy for me to say it at that point because he ended up leading us to the Eastern Conference Finals. But it does feel like that. And I remember when Mark Jackson got fired, everyone was just like, how do you fire a guy that just almost beat the Spurs to go, like, you know what I'm saying? How do you fire that guy? Right? And then you start hearing things like there was stuff going on behind the scenes no one knew about, stuff like that. They didn't like Mark Jackson. Whatever the case, fast forward, bringing Steve Kerr, championships just start lining up.
Steve Kerr, who had no coaching experience before that, just an assistant.
Right, who we almost had if Phil Jackson.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah. Someone we were interested in going after.
Yeah, we said, oh, you want Steve? We'll raise you by getting Derek Fisher. And it was just like, what a horrible game to play.
Derek Fisher was.
But Obviously, Steve Kerr led them to championships, and then that was obviously eclipsed by getting fucking Kevin Durant. But obviously,
That was like
Steve
2 years.
Kerr took a bite that was meant for two, right? Mark Jackson started pedaling, and then you know how like when you see people riding the bike down the hill, how the hill kind of just takes you. That's what Steve Kerr was. Mark Jackson went up the hill, switched. Steve Kerr got on, and then just glided on down that goddamn
Closer.
Right. I will say Steve Kerr's best coaching job since becoming the Warriors head coach was when they won a couple years ago. That was his best coaching job because you couldn't say, oh, he had Durant, he had this, he had that. He had an aging Steph, an aging Draymond, a wild card in Jordan Poole, and pulled that shit out. Anyway, back to the Knicks.
Clay. Clay was still there.
You said what?
Clay Thompson was still there.
Nah, yes, he was. Yeah, he was. Yeah.
He was not what he was, but he was still.
No, not at all. But he didn't need to be because Jordan Poole had become the new Splash Bro.
It was the Triple Splash Brothers.
Yeah, it became the pool party.
Yeah, pool party.
So obviously we let go of Tibbs. Let's start with coaching. All right. How do you evaluate what Tibbs did this season?
How do I evaluate what he did this season?
Mm-hmm.
Overall, what was our record? 51, was it?
I think 51. Yeah.
51. What was our record last year? Remember? It was over 50.
Our record last year was about the same.
Because we ended with the third seed this year? 14?
Third seed this year. We were third seed. Last year we were the fourth because I think we were the fourth or fifth because remember that's why we got the Sixers.
Right, that's right. I think it was fourth. Anyway, my thing is, it didn't. Honestly, Tibbs did a great job this year, considering. But as someone who watched both seasons, lived through both seasons, there was something missing from this team all year. Let's be real. I mean, for me, it was just there was the. You could say it was the grit, and it's weird that it just was two guys that were really missing from last year's rotation, and Hartenstein and DiVincenzo, but there was a grit that was missing from that team last year from this year. Honestly, most of the games we won this year were 100% based on out-talenting the other team because we are so top-heavy.
I would just say out. It was just our will was greater, right? Like where most teams are kind of just like, bro, we're down 20. It's a wrap. Let's just go home.
Yeah.
We'll grind you till it's over, right? Like you got to actually beat them. You know what I mean?
Well, but like the Knicks struggled defensively this year, where they didn't last year. On the boards, they weren't as strong as they were in probably like last year. Actually, they were just missing something. It was just you could see it with your eyes. It was just not. It wasn't the same, even though they had moments where they looked fantastic and unbeatable. And honestly, at their best, they were unbeatable. Unfortunately, they were inconsistently was probably their biggest issue this year. Honestly, and obviously, we already know Thibodeau doesn't have going deep into his bench,
right?
Unless he's desperate. And he got desperate towards the end of the last couple games. So it just he had less to work with on the bench, more to work with on the starting five. To me, the starting five needed to play together a lot, considering they were going to be our guys, and this is the first time they needed to gel as quick as possible. Because first of all, they got all five of them came together very late in the offseason, like really in the beginning.
One of them was literally right before preseason.
Yeah, so them having the most minutes that didn't bother me. It took a little bit for them to like get warmed up together, obviously. But even then, even when they were at their best, there was something missing. There was definitely something missing. I don't know if I cannot blame it all on the coach. No, but at the same time, because you're the coach, and you see that certain things aren't working, you have to adjust, right? I mean, that's kind of what you're supposed to do. Like maybe tinker a little. Not everything has to be those five. You have other pieces you can throw into your five and you can use them. Maybe the better pieces are better off on the bench, and that helps the bench. You know what I mean? And to me, he didn't tinker enough. Like that was the five all year, unless it was an injury. The first time we saw Mitch start, and now don't get me wrong, Mitch really came out at the end of the year. When did he come back? In March? End of February? Something like that.
We were just talking about this. Yep, March.
Yeah, so like he didn't tinker with it. He never really tried to starting them together till the playoffs, till they felt like he had to.
I was about to say he didn't do it, so it was just like it's either try something though.
Well, it's working because we saw that the lineup works, but he didn't want to start them.
Right.
I guess for him, it's like, well, if I have to do it, I'll just put them in together. I'm like, that's fair, but like maybe start the game that way. Like give us an advantage to start the game. I just think it's been. I don't want to say it's been a long time coming, but we've had this conversation. I'll put it this way: he got fired. I was shocked that he got fired, but I also wasn't surprised. If that makes any sense at all, I don't know if that makes any sense.
No, it makes sense. But I think you want to word it better.
I was surprised,
for me,
but I
was
also
surprised, but I was relieved because part of me felt like what Tibbs has been doing the last 4 years is beating his head against the wall. Right? There were often times we felt like he doesn't hold players accountable. There was a lot of times where Julius Randle was losing us more games than he was winning us. In the sense of he was allowing his bad play and his bad attitude to affect us on the court.
Play it out. Yeah.
Right. And it was just kind of like Tibbs was just like, look, I'm going to just rock with it. I'm old. I don't give a fuck. Let's just rock with it. Whatever. You know, like. You know what I'm saying?
That was the reason.
Like, hey, I'll say this, Joel. This is where we should have known he was probably going to be let go, right? Because I just experienced this shit with Bill Belichick. Where you knew Tibbs was going to get fired is where he refused to adapt. The only reason, because think about it, we were a great defensive team last year. Completely diminished that this year. We became a great offensive team this year. Only reason he had to become a great offensive team is Cat don't play no defense. And for some reason, the two defensive pieces we placed in there couldn't figure out how to play great defense together. They were switching horrible. So it was just like, it was like life forcing him to adapt. And anytime you have someone that's that, I don't want to say pig-headed, but that's
hard. It was very bullish.
It's going to force negative results because nothing about the Knicks was organic this season. The best they ever played was when the ball was moving, and for some reason, Brunson won't allow that. Brunson just even games where he gets 8 assists, it still feels like you're holding the ball a lot, bro. Like a lot. Like a lot. You're not even setting anything up. You're just dribbling.
Let's be fair. That's kind of the offense the Knicks had. Because even before Jalen got there, that was the offense with Julius. It's like, drop the ball. Like,
time out. Let's be fair, though. That had to be the offense with Julius because they couldn't figure out how to play RJ and Julius together because they do the same thing.
They got each other's way.
You know? So with Cat and Brunson, that shouldn't be an issue. With Mikal and OG.
You would assume. Obviously, it was an issue. Like,
right.
Obviously, it was good enough to be. I think we were a top 5 offense this year.
Right.
So we were a good offense, even if we had our issues and like sometimes the ball got stagnant, and that was a problem because you know that gets it's hard for the rest of the guys to get going when it's just you have one guy dominating the ball.
I love that you say to the guys. No one is ever aggressive enough to take the offense into their own.
Well, that's why it's always funny when like let's say Jalen. Remember he got the stretcher, he got hurt at the end of the year. But OG was he was averaging like 20 plus a game during that stretch. It was like I've never seen him like that in my life. I was like, what is this man?
Telling Tibbs, hey, I can do this. Draw things up for me.
He had moments, and he did. He had moments where he did do that, especially even in the playoffs. He stepped up. Now there were also games where he stunk it up. Like he was trying, but this shit wasn't falling. And look, he is still offensively green. He's still, to me, coming into his game off, which is weird. He's been in the league for like I forget how long now. The fact that he's now coming into himself. offensively. How long?
8 years, I think.
It's been a minute now. I know
Because
that.
you got to remember, he was on that team when Kawhi won them a championship.
Yeah.
That was a while ago.
Yeah, exactly. It's been a minute. He was young then. But still, it was like, hey, look, OG's been, he's a project, always been a project. Now, defensively, that was not the issue. And he showed so many glimpses of him being a great defender all year, obviously. Same thing with Bridges. Bridges had, I think he had the hardest time because he went from being literally the number one guy to I'm maybe the third or fourth guy. I don't really know where like open jump shots, even though that seems to be a struggle for him this year. Even
That
like
was part
percentage
of the
wise,
problem, Joel, that they said got Tibbs fired is that guys should know their roles, right? And you could just see, forget rumors, right? Forget the report that guys didn't know their roles. You could watch the game and see guys just standing there. Guys that just stand there are guys that don't know what they're supposed to be doing, right? Like, are we supposed to just watch Jalen and then like rebound and like what are we supposed to do?
right?
And to me, it's like I don't know if that's necessarily a coaching issue. That might be an issue of maybe the pieces we got don't work as well together as we thought they would.
Yeah, that's fair. It's my thing with Tibbs and his offensive mind. He's not the best offensive mind. We know this.
No.
Not very creative when it comes to that. But he's not an idiot by any means. Look, the fact he still got us to 50+ wins with a disjointed team, if you want to say it. That's what it was.
Seasons.
Yeah. I mean, bro, we missed the playoffs one time in his tenure.
Yep. And let's also give him the credit of 2 completely different rosters.
Yeah. There you go. DJ V knows this.
All the parts got to be.
That's right. He's not wrong.
Even if he's joking, he's not wrong. That's literally what we're saying is that you got to know your role. Literally,
and like, shut your mouth. Okay, it's not wrestling.
Know your role, your mouth, absolutely. So, I mean, look, we can both agree we wouldn't have necessarily fired Tibbs. We would have given it another year just to see if he can get us back and then get us over the hump. But I mean, sometimes you hit a wall, and this might have been our wall.
It was our wall.
So you got to figure out a way to move forward.
But look, let's be fair. The last couple of years, this is not the first time. Let's be 100% correct. After this series, if we did a poll of all the fans at the time saying we should have kept him or not, how do you think he would have won out?
Oh, Tibbs would have been fired 100%.
So for everyone that's upset, anybody that has watched him all year in the last 5 years, it's been 5 years.
Yeah.
A part of us is like maybe this time, and like you were saying earlier in the year, like maybe he's not meant to take us to the promised land. Maybe he was just there to jumpstart the machine.
Right.
And maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's exactly what it is. Maybe you just need someone that's just a little bit more creative offensively, less rigid overall. And the fact that he wasn't able to get these guys to buy into the defense that once was with better defenders on the roster, which is insane to me. Now, I understand Cat is not a good defender. We saw that with our eyes, 100%. Get it. Same thing, Brunson's not the best defender. We get it. They're not good defenders. But you put the good defenders around them. The rest of the guys are, right?
Right.
And somehow it just wasn't. It's just, and look, I know the bench wasn't deep. I totally get that. Mitch was out most of the season, but we're not really at this point. We're not even talking about the regular season. We're talking about the postseason. Mitch was healthy for the postseason. That was great. Deuce was great, but after Deuce, it was such a fall. Like he refused to not play campaign. It was so annoying. Like I don't like why he loved that man so much. And look, I didn't even mind the signing of campaign in the summer. I did not. I thought it was good. But when it's not working, it's not working. And bro, he worked for one game this playoffs. One. Don't get me wrong, like, won us that game. but
look, I'll tell you this. This is the thing that upset me the most, right? What upset me the most was Tibbs had, for anyone listening, and when I say this, I'm not saying it like it's unusual. Hear me out. Tibbs had 4 point guards on his roster. Only played 2. I don't count Deuce as a point guard. Deuce is 100% a shooting guard. He only played 2 of the 4. Only played 2 of the 4. One of them he signed late in the season. One of them he drafted. And then he signed campaign over the kid he just drafted and still brought in DeLon Wright. So I'm like, I look at
they
it, and I'm
traded
like,
for Dallin, right?
they did. That's right. I'm like, Tibbs, you can't have this influx of guards and not play any of them. Why do we have them?
Well, here's another thing. Now that you bring that up, why waste the roster spot on a guy that was just going to be like an extra coach in PJ
Yeah.
Tucker and not use him? Now, if you're not going to use him, why bring him in? Did you really need that extra voice in the locker room? Was it that bad in the locker room that you needed that voice over actually a healthy body that can help you in the playoffs?
Joel, apparently it was so bad, Josh Hart would not take a three. As soon as PJ Tucker got there, this man thought he was Klay Thompson a couple games. And you know what he said? I think guys like PJ Tucker that's telling me to like just shoot. You know what I'm saying? Don't think. I'm like, it took PJ Tucker for you to understand that if you're open, shoot it. It took PJ.
That's always gonna be.
You guys needed a mommy. Was having a pop up not enough? You need a mommy too. Like I don't understand. So you're absolutely right. And here's the thing: the game one when we lost to the Pacers, and Halliburton starts running up and down the court doing the Reggie Miller choke thing. I would have immediately put in PJ Tucker exclusively to kill him. That's it. That's it. Get ejected. I don't give a fuck. I don't use you anyway. Get ejected though, but take him out with you. Cause a fight. Let's get this game won.
Fair enough.
Right? Just like be smart about these roster moves if you're gonna make them. You know what I'm saying? So look, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what it is. A lot of people want to blame Jalen Brunson's dad. A lot of people want to blame Jalen Brunson. Whoever you want to blame, you can blame whoever you want to blame. At the end of the day, it will always fall on the head coach. So it is not shocking that a season that should not have ended when it did, you decide to fire your coach. It's not the most shocking thing.
I also have to say, because I know a lot of people saying, well, he took you to the conference finals. He did. And I appreciate it. Look, there's nothing, I will not say a bad thing about the fucking man. He was great. I loved him. We signed him originally. He did great in the 5 years with us.
He was. Let's also give this, because a lot of people think we sometimes over exaggerate as Knicks fans. Tibbs is the most legit coach you could argue we've had since Gundy. You could argue it's the best coach we've had since Gundy.
He's the most successful coach we've had since Gundy.
I was barely born when Gundy was head coach. Okay, so it lets you know how long it's been. Yeah. I just throw that out there.
Most successful for sure. I mean, Woodson had a small run there for a while.
He did, but that was very much you had a full veteran team.
But that was after and Tony kind of took you there, and then Woodson took it from there, and then obviously that fell apart. Eventually, and that wasn't all his fault because again, roster construction was a big issue. But we had so many like Hall of Fame coaches come in and get kicked right the fuck out. Like it was bad. I was there. It was like it doesn't matter what your name was. If you were a Knicks coach, your ass sucked. Why? Because it's just the team was bad. The everything was bad. But it's not the same anymore. Now, you want to say it is because they fired the coach. You can say whatever you want.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, that's how they felt that there wasn't enough. We can't even argue with them. I'm not going to argue with them. Because, look, I'm looking at the playoffs this year, just this year. We got to the conference finals. That is very true. That happened. And, look, no one expected us to get there. I didn't expect us to get that far, honestly. Let's be 100% real. We got through the Detroit Pistons and the Boston Celtics to do so, right? That first round was tough as fuck. Mm-hmm. And we could have easily not made it out of that first round. Mm-hmm. That's how close those games were. Very close games. We narrowly got out of that series. Boston came next, thanks to them, thanks to the Pistons sharpening our swords. I think that helped us get past Boston. Now we snuck out of there several times. How many times have we gotten blown out this playoffs?
Every time. Oh, in the playoffs.
In the playoffs.
Oh, yeah. You mean to start the game?
Yes, I mean the whole in the games even the games we lost, we were actually coming back from 20-point deficits. That's not good. You know what I mean? Like the Boston series specifically, we were doing crazy comebacks to win these games. We blew them at the very end, where I think they lost their soul. We took their souls and we crushed it. That's the way you got to end the series. So I'm not even worried about that. But It worked against us because that game one we choked it away, right? And that really was the end of the series, right there. We couldn't get, we could not we could never gain our footing again after that. After we choked that the first game, and that comes down to me. That could have been a mental thing. We still took 2 games away from them at the end of the day. Thank God, because like losing, if it was just one, that's the thing. Coming away from the Boston series, you thought Tom might be safe, and I did too. But when I found out that it was going to be the Pacers, the same team that eliminated us the year before, I'm like, if we lose and we don't like it has to go 7 again for him to save his job, in my opinion, or win. 100%. And it wasn't either. And it wasn't bad. I mean, it wasn't. And like choking that first game was probably the biggest thing. But like, I knew that it wasn't. He wasn't safe anymore once we lost the series. I knew it, even with us getting there. If it was a different team, if it was like the Cavaliers, who were like the best team in the league this year, or if maybe it was the opposite, we played the Boston Celtics instead, that would have been different. But because it was the Pacers, and we lost to them again and got outmaneuvered again, even worse with a healthy team.
Yeah, I was gonna say
that was to me the difference, because they weren't very different from last year.
It's less about who we lost to; it's more about how we lost. If if it went 6 games, but each of them were nail biters, and we lost because maybe a guy fouled out or a questionable call, that's not getting Tibbs fired. It's the fact that you were up 20, 2 games. Up 20, 2 games. Could have easily closed out both games, up 2-0, going into Indiana, right? The fact that you squandered that, then you squandered 3, then you won 4, squandered 5. I'm sorry, lost 4.
You lost the first 2.
Right, lost the first 2, won 2 in Indiana.
Lost, no,
and then,
it was lost 2 in New York, won 1, lost 1 in Indiana.
And then 1-1 back home, and then lost in Indiana.
Lost in Indiana.
It was in the matter of how you were losing these games that got you fired. 100%. Joel, again, I harken back to watching Bill Belichick. You cannot call yourself a defensive guru, and people are scoring on you like it's Christmas. You cannot just be giving gifts out to everyone. You're a defensive guy, and you can't guard a post.
That's bad.
That's really bad.
And look, I told you earlier we were talking about it.
And who you lost to.
And like I told you, game 1, a lot of that I 100% blame on the fact that they just did not make their free throws.
Yeah,
I understand, and I get that, and I told that's not the coach's fault at all. But they were also up 20. Like this man shut. Now look, it was a freaky game because Naismith hit 5 threes in a row. That's what brought them back. But the fact that you no one thought maybe guard him. Because he was open. It's not like they were like in hands in his face. He was open on almost all those shots, and that's what I mean. Like, how was that not like get? It was just very frustrating.
Yes, and I think the thing that upset me the most was just the Knicks were getting backdoored a lot.
Oh, dang!
Every time you look up, that someone's left open of the other team. And what kept stressing me is, Joel, Josh Hart kept saying all season, we need to communicate, we need to communicate, we need to communicate, we need to lose egos and communicate. And it's like, I don't understand how you play this game without communicating. That should be the last thing that's an issue. Communication should be number 1. Like the first thing you do before you even shoot a ball. It should be communication. And the fact that there's not, that's a coaching issue. What do you mean there's no communication? Why am I watching Cat guard Tyrese while fucking Turner is walking to the basket with an open layup? I don't understand that. Where was Brunson? What's going on? So look, I don't know. Like I said, at the end of the day, the blame has to fall on the coach. It does not matter if it's fair or not fair. That's what it's been since the beginning of time. You don't fire players, you fire coaches. And I know people love to say, it's the most Knicks thing you could do. I want to remind people. I would like to remind people. Mark Jackson didn't have a trash Warriors team, and he got fired. I want to warn people. David Blatt took the Cavaliers to the finals, got fired. Dwayne Casey won Coach of the Year, got fired. Mike Brown just got fired. Mike Malone just got fired. Budenholzer, championship.
Mike Malone just got fired, yes.
So I'm like, people are saying it like, oh, that's a Knicks thing to do to fire.
Jenkins got fired. I mean, how you gonna fire? Just it was a lot of crazy. It's been a lot of crazy moves. And like I know a lot of people are scared of like first time coaches, like first time head coach. They don't have experience. There's so many examples of that working out.
Yeah, exactly.
In the NBA right now, it's just like I'm not that worried about it. Like Joe Mazzulla's a big thing. Celtics just won a championship. That was his first second year as coach.
Yeah, Mazzulla. If you watched Boston Celtics games, you had no idea who Joe Mazzulla was.
Yeah. I mean, like who? I mean, they're going to be wrong. There are probably some coaches I wouldn't mind having. Like, do you want to talk about that? Do you want to talk about like?
Yeah, let's go into that. Yeah, go ahead.
Do you have any in mind? Is there anyone you in particular care about, or do you just want to talk about who's available, or who you might like that might not be available? Because there's some guys because they're throwing names out there with people that are already with teams. So.
Right, like Ime Udoka would be the most perfect way to go.
That would be your favorite choice. Would be Ime.
100%. Ime followed by Jason Kidd.
Which we try to steal it from him.
No. I'm saying in a perfect world, that's who I would want if I could. But I don't believe in that whole. Because think about it, we'd have to give up more assets we don't have to go get the coach from that team. No.
Yeah, Spoelstra would be another good one if I doubt they're ever firing him.
No, Spoelstra would have to leave. Miami does not usually fire coaches, which is why Spoelstra's been there for like 8 different regimes. What was I going to say? I keep hearing people talk about Mike Malone, but I would like to remind people everything Tibbs just got fired for is exactly what Mike Malone got fired for.
That's my issue. Like I like Mike Malone, but he's so similar to Tibbs. I don't see like that being a thing.
Now I will say this in the same vein of literally what I just said. It is the best man available that we know of right now.
Absolutely. Yeah, in terms of credentials, for sure.
So I'm like, I do understand the irony of that. The irony of the best guy for the job might be the worst guy for the job.
It's weird, but yeah, I mean, it's redundant. Might as well just kept Tibbs at that point.
Right, exactly. If you hire him. Now, look, I don't mind if you say, hey, we looked, we searched, we had to get a head coach, and we decided to get Mike Malone. I would understand that.
Right.
But I would very much need to know if you can be better gauging his ear than you were Tibbs. Because Tibbs didn't listen to a fucking thing that management had to say all season. Like, he just shake his head and go, okay. No, I'm not going to do any of that. So if Mike Malone's more willing to listen, he's not a bad coach. He's a really good coach.
I mean, I don't know about that, considering that might have been the reason he got fired. Who knows?
Very true. But you might have learned from that lesson.
I mean, you would hope.
So, I mean, we'll see. I mean, we'll see. I just know this.
You're not opposed to it, but you don't see the point.
No, it would not be something I would advocate for us to rush to go do.
JJ Redick, the other coach, who had a good year, and they did pretty well. I mean, don't get me wrong, that playoff series was not good. But
no, not at all.
You live and you learn.
I think that was more so. I don't know, man. You could just make the argument. Maybe it's just time for LeBron.
You could.
Maybe it's just time. That's all I could say to that. But no, I don't have anyone specifically. I hear a lot of people wanting Jay Wright for the Villanova connection. I'm not interested in that because one doesn't necessarily mean the other. But it doesn't guarantee that we will have success.
No, it does not.
With that. So, because look, we brought Josh Hart, Jalen Brunson, and Mikal Bridges together, and that wasn't enough. So, I can't assume that bringing.
I feel less obliged to follow the whole Wildcats Villanova thing because the Timberwolves gone. It's like you only have like 3/4 of that team. So
yeah, you didn't.
I'm less inclined to care at this point.
Yeah, you didn't complete it.
Is there? We did for like 5 minutes, and then we traded.
They did a whole photo shoot and everything. All right, man.
Cat got became real. I'm sorry.
They're like, take care, buddy. No. So to answer your question, no, I don't have anyone specific.
How do you feel about Johnny Bryant, former Knicks assistant?
Um,
I know that for a long time we thought maybe he was being groomed to take Tibbs' spot in the future.
yeah,
I remember that was in the conversation only a couple of years ago. Remember?
yeah, I do remember that, and you can feel his loss. There's a reason why the Knicks felt like they felt, and the Cavs skyrocketed the way that they did. I'm not saying Johnny Bryant was solely responsible, but I'll just say this: the Cavaliers' best player wanted Johnny Bryant. That should tell you everything you need to know.
Obviously, I mean they were close to him in Utah, right? So
yeah. So there's some secret sauce over there with Johnny Bryant. Again, I'll say this again, not my top pick, but I'm also just I'm at a point now where I'm not against anything. You never know. You never know. I mean, we were on this podcast when the conversation of the Detroit Pistons being a better team than they were last year was laughed at, and that head coach did a fucking hell of a job.
And there's another one that one because they went from they went to JB from who's the coach?
Fuck, what's his name? Is it Vickers? No, is it Bickerstaff?
No, JB's the coach now.
Oh, you're saying who was the coach?
Who was the coach?
Yeah, that was Monty. Monty was the coach.
Oh, right. Monty's a great coach. And look at you know what I mean? I mean, it was a terrible experiment in Detroit, but Monty,
yes, it was.
Until that moment, Monty was a great coach. You know what I mean? Yeah. Now, I think when they hired him, it was I don't know, it was the best possible time. He had a lot of shit going on.
With his wife.
Right. So I don't know if that was always. There's a lot of factors that could have gone into it, but Monty is a good coach. Yeah. But JB elevated them, and JB elevated the Cavaliers, but they didn't feel like it was enough. And look, KNICKS came in and literally elevated that team to the top of the East.
Right. I was going to say regular season. Right.
Yeah, regular season. Obviously, the playoffs was they got injured too, remember. So that sucks. You know, you got to deal with that. So, I mean, those are things you got to look at. Like, there are guys like I'm open-minded. I like to stay open-minded when it comes to especially coaching. I'm okay if it's a new coach that I feel like maybe it's a young coach that's more innovative offensively, but as long as they bring that defensive mindedness, I'm fine with it. You know, I don't know many names off the top of my head.
I'll say this: the idea of a new coach stresses me because you obviously are going to select a new head coach before you do any major trades, right? So it's like
I would prefer that.
If we get the coach, that coach could be good for the roster we have now with obviously some tweaks to it. I don't know if, let's say, you go bring Durant in. Can that coach handle that? You know what I'm saying? If you go get someone else major, can that coach handle that? You know what I'm saying? Like, we know Tibbs can handle either.
Steve Nash could not handle that.
Right, exactly. So I'm like, that's the thing that worries me the most.
That was a toxic situation to be thrown into unfairly on his part. I think Kenny probably just kept that job. But not that Steve shouldn't try coaching again. You know what I mean? If that's something he wants to do. My favorite choice, obviously, is already taken because I would love to have Jason Kidd in Dallas.
Same.
But I'm open-minded to like if it is Johnny Bryant because I know I've always liked Johnny since we brought him in originally to be an assistant, and he was the associate head coach. I think there might be something there. He was a finalist recently with the Phoenix Suns job. He lost out to Jordan Knott. It's funny. They're on the same training. They're in the same coaching staff. They're both from Cleveland, and Jordan Knott ended up winning out.
And he lost out to him. Yeah.
He lost to Jordan Knott. Oh, sad for Johnny because he's getting there. He's gonna get a job.
Not sad for Johnny. I think he can come here.
I mean, that would be great for him. But I'm saying, even if he doesn't get the job in New York, he's gonna get a job soon. I 100% believe that. I don't know where, but he's gonna get one. He's getting close. I can smell it. Maybe it's when they finally expand or some shit. Get two more teams.
Maybe. All right. So let's go into the last thing here. what do you want to see be done with the roster? And I don't mean, let me be clear on what my question is, because that's a fully loaded question. What I mean by that question is,
All LeBron James.
so big fish hunting. Do we just need to put better pieces around the guys we have now and re-sign Mikel? What would be your, what direction would you lean in? Keep what we got and enhance, or go big fish hunting?
I'm not against just keeping the core that we have and just adding to the bench as best as we could. And here's another reason I don't mind bringing in another coach. As much as I love Thibodeau, I really think we can get more out of the young core that we have.
Well, I agree.
I want to see more of them play, and that they never were going to get meaningful minutes, at least not in the next couple of years. Like, you know what I mean?
You were big fans of Tyler.
Yes.
You were big fans of wanting to see Dadier.
Huck
Porty. Yep.
I can't wait to see more of what's his name, Color Jr. Like those are guys. Look, I'm just so happy. Like the fact that they pulled off getting 4 rookies last year in a year I didn't expect to care about any of the picks. Right. I was so proud of them for doing that, but I knew that they would never play under fucking Thibodeau. You know, it's just they never would. It's just it would take time. It would take 3. Like it took Deuce a while to get in there. You know what I mean? Yep. You know, I mean, eventually it worked out in his favor because Deuce turned out to be a good player.
He did turn out to be such a great trade asset. I mean, player.
I mean, just because, yeah. I mean, if you can trade him for something good, I'm not against that. I mean, you gotta strengthen the bench. And I know it's tough because we don't have a lot of room financially.
Especially with having to re-sign Bridges.
Right, and then that's another thing. You got to figure out what you're going to do with Bridges. Are you bringing him back? And if not, what you got to me? Trade.
I disagree with Alan Hahn. As much as I love Alan Hahn, and I believe that man knows more about basketball than I could ever dream of knowing. But I disagree when he said, because they said, look, someone was saying on the podcast he was on, like, you have to keep Bridges because you traded all those draft picks to get him. And Alan Hahn said, I disagree. If something's not working, then it's just not working. You move on from him and try to get assets back for him. And I'm going to be honest with you. I don't believe in that because I don't believe you can get anything for just Mikel or even Mikel and Mitchell or whatever you try to package. I don't think you can get anything as valuable as us giving away those many picks for someone that's never been an all-star. Right? Like
you're never gonna that was never an equal trade. Right. We overpaid, obviously, because it was an arrival tax. That's what's gonna happen, right? So the Brooklyn Nets are gonna try to take as much as they could from us, while they gave us their best player. I mean, that was their best player. Yeah, that's 100%. Fair. And that's fair.
He's not there, and he's still their best player.
Yeah, sadly. But my thing is, that hurts us because the fact that you traded that many assets for basically our 4th guy, that's what hurts us the most. You traded a lot of assets for a guy for one guy that's our 3rd or 4th guy. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And if I don't disagree with Alan though, like if you can, even though you might not believe it, but you might be able to get something. If you can, and it's a good value, you take it. You know, it depends on the value. You know what I mean? Just because you might not be able to doesn't mean you can't. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm just saying you'd have to tell me that trading away, doing like a sign-in trade or whatever the case may be, you would have to tell me that trading away Bridges immensely adds to our team. Immensely. Whether it's Bridges for another player, but that other player fits our scheme so well that he complements us the way that Mikal Bridges did this year, I can live with that. I'm not saying you got to trade Mikal Bridges for a superstar. That's never going to happen. But if you're going to trade him, it has to be for somebody that immensely makes us better. You know what I mean? I don't want a bunch of for Mikal Bridges. You know what I'm saying?
No.
That's why I'm saying I disagree with Alan. You can't just say, well, we'll trade him. No, it always depends on trade him for what.
Yeah, I don't think Alan meant trade him for nothing.
No. He didn't mean
compensation.
He meant, he obviously meant that, but I'm saying it would have to really be something. You know what I'm saying? Like known commodities. Or you can flip that motherfucker for draft picks. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I'm sure we can get first from. I'm not sure how many. Probably not. Definitely not 5.
It depends on where you send them. It depends on where you send them.
Where is fair? It depends. If look, I don't. Here's the thing. There were definitely moments where I was like, I don't know if OG and Mikal could play together. They just don't seem to fit. I don't know what it is. They don't complement each other well enough because they are almost too equal in the fact that they're just defenders with limited handle that shoot the ball mediocre. You know what I mean? Like, don't get me wrong. I love Midi King, Mikal. I love that. But he also seemed to be hesitant to lay up the fucking ball sometimes, and that was very annoying.
He does. He prefers a mid range, and I'm like
over a layup. I'm like, dude,
you're right by the.
I'm not, bro. And look, there were moments this season where I'm like, bro, when you need a bucket, just put up a midi. Just have Mikal do a midi. It's an easy bucket, and that's fair. A lot, like 100% of the time. Now, when you're in a playoff series where they expect it, it's harder. But like during the year, I mean, that's an easy bucket. Give the man a backup midi, and he'll hit it like almost 90% of the time.
Yep.
I was never worried about that, but like it's just one of those things where like I don't know, man. I need to see what's out there, who's available. Like it really comes down to who's available. Who comes? Maybe someone comes to us and we'll offer this for this. We like the way that sounds. It gives us more depth on top of the fact that you have. Maybe that's what it is. You know what I mean?
I can tell you a player I would love for the Knicks to, if you're looking to trade Mikal Bridges, who I would trade Mikal. Well, not who, but one name I'm focused on right now that I would love for us to have because it fits us and it's not someone that you're worrying about not knocking down shots, and it's someone that could take over the game when Brunson sits down. It could even work with Cat. You know who I would trade? I'd love to go after I just fucking forgot his name. White boy in LA.
Reeves?
Yeah.
You trade Mikal for Reeves, is that what you're saying?
Yep.
Now why is that?
Because Austin, I would say this. When you watch that Pacers series, right? There were so many times Mikal Bridges was on the 3-point line and would scoot up, take the easier two. And it's like, that's a confidence thing. I never once, in the games that I saw Austin Reeves play, ever felt like he was someone whose confidence could be wavered. Right? I mean, think about it. Mikal came into the season with a wavered confidence. I wouldn't change my jump shot. What the fuck? Why here? Don't do that shit here. Why didn't you do that in Brooklyn? Don't come here with some, I think it's broken. I want to try to fix it. No. So I just think he has that grit more. And that's no shade to Mikal, but we need guys that can knock down threes. That's the problem we have with the starting 5. If it's not Cat, who for some reason is probably taking less threes, or Brunson, we don't have 3-point shooting.
Yeah, that's what made DiVincenzo so. That was a piece that's obviously missing from the lineup was another shooter. Right. Because we know Jalen and Cat can shoot. That's not really their issue. It's the other 3 that don't shoot consistent enough. And they didn't shoot bad, aside from Josh. They don't shoot bad. Like, Mikal shot 35 this year. That's not terrible. And OG shot fucking 37. So it's like, not bad from 3. They just didn't, you know what? They didn't shoot enough of them consistently enough. They had moments. That's why their averages aren't bad, but it's not like they shot many. You know, some nights it did, some nights they did. You know what I mean?
Right.
Not all of it was in rhythm. Sometimes it's when it's in their own shot instead of like how many times do you see OG shoot a step back 3? It's crazy how many of those go in. But like in rhythm, sometimes they're just out of rhythm. If that makes any sense.
No, it does.
You know.
It does. But also, Joel, let's also add this. Let me be very clear in how I'm saying this. The way Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby played basketball this season, neither one of them seemed like they could create their own offense. Mm-hmm. You know what? Maybe that's not the right way to say it. Neither one of them seemed willing to create their own offense. Austin Reeves wouldn't have that issue. There's a lot of times Austin Reeves was getting 30, 40, 25, 26.
Austin Reeves could score. I mean, I don't remember how he was defensive. I can't tell you that.
Even if he's not the greatest defensively, it's not like I'm trading Mikel and OG. I'm just trading one or the other, not both. So I would still have someone able to play elite defense on that roster, along with hopefully Josh Hart coming out of his fucking.
Yeah, I mean, Mikel had some great defensive.
Sure, I mean that Celtics series.
Yeah.
I just don't know what happened to him. You know what it was, Joel? And last thing before we start to wrap it up, the biggest thing that disappointed me about Mikal Bridges in this Indiana series, the one thing the Knicks did that I'm like, this is again coaching. You cannot be pushed off your man by the world's softest screens. Just Turner putting an elbow on Mikal Bridges would separate him from Tyrese. I'm like, so we're not gonna fight over the screen. Okay, got it. So we're gonna put Cat on Tyrese. That makes sense. Okay, you guys got it. You got it. No one's gonna fight to get Mikal back on Tyrese. All right, because we had the blueprint. Remember in that game 4 where we're playing DeLon Wright, Landry Shamet, those guys are locking up Tyrese. We're playing up on Tyrese.
Right.
Playing physical.
I like them guys,
5,
man.
Game 5 comes, completely get out of it. We completely get out of it. And it's just like I don't understand, guys. Like
what's good? Like,
yeah, so look, I don't know what this Knicks team can do. I'm in baseball mode right now. Basketball's over for me. So basketball will not be thought about again until July. Okay, and even then, my mind's getting ready for football. But this hurt, man. This hurt. The city was jumping. I swear to God, for a little bit, the economy got better. I'm not even gonna hold you. It just seemed like everything was just better
for a week.
like everything just seemed better. And then all of a sudden they lose, and it's like now people got to watch Indiana and OKC. Minnesota really failed, man. It's the most boring fucking finals you could possibly ask for.
I mean, it shouldn't be that boring, considering they're both high-paced, high-octane offenses.
Yeah, but that's the problem. Who the fuck is going to play defense?
Well, I mean, they're defending now. I mean, it's what, right now, 57-45. It's not bad.
Who's up?
Right now, Thunder up.
Oh.
They forced 19 turnovers. It's crazy.
I swear to God, if you had said Indiana, I would have punched the screen.
Thunder up 57-45. They're up 12.
Good. Let's see if we can get that score up 167 to 10. You know, in the next half. Let's see if we can have that kind of half. Okay, so let's see if you got it in you.
Do it for them.
I mean, as we wrap up here, Joel, is there anything else that stands out to you? Anything else that you're hearing about or anything like that?
I just look forward to the offseason now. Like, we got that off our chest. We talked. We gave our 2 cents. I'm more about, at this point, moving. I moved on already. Like, I try to not dwell on it. Like, same thing happened when we traded for Julius. Traded away Julius for Cat. Like, it hurts in the moment. You're like, it's kind of shocking. You don't know how to feel. It's kind of how I felt with losing Tibbs. But, like, I don't like to cry over spilt milk. It's over. It happened. Kind of have to move forward. Not dealing about the future. Tibbs is gone. I'll miss him. He was great. I'm looking forward to seeing who's going to take his spot and put us back on top, because that's what we're looking for, right?
That's all that matters.
Yeah. So like, I absolutely want to. I just want to move on and see what's next, because I don't think it's over. I honestly don't think I have. Now they've said that they're not going to rush this coaching decision, but there's a part of me that feels like they know already who they want. Now
that's
it's a matter
fair. I think they have an idea.
Yeah, I think they have an idea. At least a name or two.
I think they're going to try to go same thing with free agency and trading this offseason. I think they're going to try to go big fish hunting, and if it doesn't work, I think they know who their next in line will be if those big fish hunts.
And look, I'll say this about the Knicks, man. The last couple of summers, they have not been quiet. They have definitely made moves. We've always had something to talk about. Even last year twice, who saw the Bridges and Cat trades coming? Not us.
No, let's not even do that. Let's go a year before. traded
OG trade. Yeah.
OG, right. That
The
was
OG trade came out of nowhere. Those are some crazy moments to see the roster that we have now and the trades that we made and how excited we were. I mean, look, we got all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals. It worked. You can say what the fuck you want. We got far. It's not. We just haven't won a championship yet. No, still chance.
We could say this. Remember, the conversation was who's going to regret it more, the Knicks or the Timberwolves? Both teams went to the conference finals.
Yeah, that was a win-win at the end of the day.
Now,
right?
It'll be interesting to see because Julius can walk.
Both got eliminated in the first.
So, Julius can walk away, so that'll be interesting to see if they can keep him. We at least have Cat locked down.
They want to keep him. I mean, I'll know more about the offseason once we get close. I'll start doing my stuff. So I'll have who's contracts, who's a free agent, who's not, who's a restricted or unrestricted. And I'll definitely go into that more the next show when we talk about the NBA as a whole. Not just focus on the, even though I love the Knicks and we love the Knicks specifically. But
no, I think everyone watching loves the Knicks. We got about 30 people in here. I think everyone watching loves the Knicks.
Yeah, that's crazy. We have 30 people watching. Thanks for watching. Fuck. But if you're here, it's probably because you like the Knicks. I'm imagining you're watching because of that, or you're just really close friends to us. But considering we do these shows all the time and never see that number, you gotta be Knicks fans. Imagine.
Yeah, look, Trayvon, DJV, Jamie, all Knicks fans. So it makes sense.
At least Jamie lives in New York.
Yeah, makes sense to me. So makes
perfect. Nothing wrong with that, man. Game sports from DJV, my favorite response we get from that man.
We needed to do this and kind of get this off of our chest. Shout out to Prime. It didn't work out to get him on, but next sports talk we do, we'll definitely have him on. Shout out to DJV, Jamie for watching. Shout out to Trayvon. We saw
Julius
you. You said what?
I said Julius ain't opting out.
Why? Why you say that?
He's a player option.
Oh yeah, no,
he's not. He's up.
Even though I told you I've always loved the idea of him maybe going home to Dallas.
I mean, I imagine, but I don't see Dallas paying him.
Not after you went and got AD. I think if they could, they should. But no, really not.
They got the first pick of the draft. They got Cooper Flag. They good.
Oh man, could you picture Cooper Flag playing next to Anthony Edwards? It'd be like White Man Can't Jump.
Yeah.
It'd be like Wesley and Woody. That's what they'd be playing like together.
Except Cooper Flag could fucking jump.
Woody had hops. Don't do that to Woody. Woody
had some hops, not flag hops.
For that, we thought nobody outside of black people had hops. Woody had hops.
The NBA, there was plenty of black people that could jump in back then.
Woody had hops. But no, we needed to do this more so to just kind of get things off of our chest. We'll be back next week for a regular podcast, and hopefully the finals is over by then. Clean sweep, OKC.
Hopefully it's a clean sweep.
God bless. We can talk about
no bias here. This is just straight analytics. So we really think it's just
pure analytics. I only get my analytics from OKC right now, but yeah, it's non-biased at all.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
I can't hide it, Joe. I fucking hate Indiana with every fiber of my being.
Well, I've hated Indiana many different decades in a row. So I get it.
You know what it is? Joel? You know what makes me the angriest? Is that it's the second fucking time Milwaukee didn't handle their shit. So we didn't have to deal with these man. The second time.
I honestly thought you were going to say it's the second time Indiana got in the way when the last time.
No, man. Goddamn Bucks.
Literally last year, and then the time before that was Melo. Indiana
just seemed to be our roadblock. That's fair.
I fucking hate that kid.
Damn, man.
Yeah. But here we are.
Yeah, here we are. We will have seen the ballerina before Wednesday's podcast. Yes.
That's the plan, at least.
Yeah. We'll have seen about it. Yeah. You ain't got to worry about that, DJV. We plan on seeing that. Got to support our girl, Anna, and obviously the Wickinator, since he can come back from the dead, apparently. We'll be supporting him also.
I'm sure it takes place before the fourth one, but I guess we'll see.
Yeah, you never know. Guys, if you have not bought your tickets yet for Fantastic Four, make sure you guys go get your tickets. They were selling out like hotcakes. So please go get your tickets. Superman tickets will be going on sale within the next week or two. Next week, actually. Sorry, next week.
Yeah, next week.
Next week they'll be going on sale. So make sure you guys get them before they are gone. All right, I don't want any of you guys being spoiled. All right, try to get out there opening night. That's Thursday, not Friday. Thursday. All right. Take off work if you need to. Jamie and Didge are sending out stimulus packages if you need them. So just reach out at didge.com, at gmail.com, and at bigmoneyjamie at Yahoo. All right, just reach out to them if you guys need any help with securing tickets.
Financially, they will take care of you. They're good. They're good people with hearts, big hearts.
There's no way Trayvon saw the ballerina. How did he see it? It was a female lead.
He likes female leads.
Oh, okay. I get confused sometimes.
He likes female leads and men butts.
She must
Bottoms.
have been fully clothed, and there must have been a lot of men butts.
Yeah, him. Like the only thing he likes about men is their parts.
Yeah, reach out. That's at bigmoneyswiper at AOL.com. And that's getrichlikeDidge at yahoo.com. Reach out to them, guys, if you guys need anything. That's going to do it for us. As always, want to thank Joel and Trayvon for always podding with me. I want to thank DJ V, Didge, Jamie for being in the comment section. I want to shout out the 32 people that were watching us on a thrown together podcast.
Thank you very much. Very last minute. 30 is a lot more than I was expecting.
I will say, the one thing I learned, Joel, is that the longer we pod, like when it gets to like 9, 10 o'clock, the more that people come in, and it's like, we've been podding for so long already. We're trying to get off. But like, it's crazy because you see the numbers rise, and you're like, I kind of want to stay on. Like, see how high it can go, but nah, we're good. We will see you guys next Wednesday. Shout out to you guys. Until then, peace.